Hello, love. I'm Sarah Sparks, your Chief Soul Strategist. I help leaders align the soul of their business with the business of their soul so they can create wealth, clarity, and impact without burnout. If you're here to lead from wholeness, not pressure, you're in the right place. So, welcome. I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel. And also, if you'd like this video, share it with others. Let's dive in. Now, there's been a series. This is week 3 of the January series. If you haven't watched week 1 and 2, go ahead and watch them. So if week 1 was around stop negotiating with yourself, and we talked about that, and the impact on the bottom dollar from negotiating with yourself, holding off on what you know you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to be doing it. And then week 2 was about rebuilding self-trust and what happens when we don't have our trust in ourselves, what happens to our business, and what are we telling divine source creator, the universe, about, hey, you know what? It's safe for money to come in. It's safe for money to be trusted in this space around me if you don't believe that you are trusting yourself. So we talked about rebuilding that trust. And then week 3 is where it's going to become visible. And that's what we're going to talk about today is boundaries, but not walls, right? Boundaries can be proof that you trust yourself enough to honor your truth without explaining it. We as soul-led leaders do not want to be over explaining what we do and how we do it and who we do it for. No, that gives away our power. And we want to be able to have our power intact and have that trust within ourselves. So boundaries feel uncomfortable when you've been rewarded for overextending. And do you get that? So boundaries feel uncomfortable when you've been rewarded for overextending. And then we don't want to be overextending ourselves. And we're like, ugh, now we have to set up some boundaries. So many people learned that love comes from availability, that safety comes from flexibility, belonging comes from self-abandonment. Ooh, that in order to belong, you have to abandon yourself. Oh, no, we've been taught that, you know? So when you set a boundary, your system panics, not because it's wrong, but because it's new. You haven't experienced that before. So the difference between hard and clean boundaries. So hard boundaries come from fear. I am not doing this. This is what, there's fear behind it. But clean boundaries come from clarity. Hard boundaries push. Clean boundaries hold. When you trust yourself, you don't defend your boundary. You simply live it. That's leadership. That's soul-led leadership. That's leading from wholeness. And this could look like in a follow-up, or you are scheduling a coffee chat. This is how the coffee chats flow. This is the format that which I use. I meet people online and I do virtual coffee chats. I don't meet in person. That's how I work a coffee chat. I express that to the person that I'm going to have the coffee chat with. We go through the flow of the conversation. We talk about goals. We talk about ways we can support each other, and we bid each other adieu. It's a clean boundary. It's not a hard boundary where I'm pushing them to do something that they don't want to do and that there's all this anger and fear around it. No, this is just how I roll. And that's leadership. So how does negotiation, though, destroy those boundaries? Maybe you're negotiating having a follow-up or having a coffee chat. Oh, well, I guess I'll just negotiate with myself and we'll talk for another 30 minutes or so. No, I told myself we were going to have a 15-minute coffee chat. And so that's the boundary that I'm setting for myself and the person that I'm having the coffee chat with. So negotiations reopen what your soul already closed. Every time you explain, soften, or justify a clear no, you teach people how to bypass you. Boundaries work when they're embodied, not announced. Let me repeat that. Boundaries work when they are embodied, not announced. You just live them. This is what I do. This is how I roll. So what boundaries actually do for you?
Clean boundaries. Stabilize your nervous system. Protect your energy. Clarify your relationships. Increase respect. They don't push people away. They reveal who can meet you where you are.
They reveal who can meet you where you are, not where they're at. You're not forcing them. You're not pushing. You're not putting pressure. You're inviting. This is how I do things. Will they meet you where you're at?
And I invite you to week 3's practice. So here's your practice. Choose one place where you've been negotiating. Observe yourself. Stop explaining. Say less. Hold steady. Trust yourself. That's the work. That's the practice this week.
Boundaries are not the problem. Self-betrayal is the problem. And we no longer want to negotiate and betray ourselves. You no longer have to abandon yourself to belong in the spaces that were created just for you. So next week, we close January by talking about what happens when integrity becomes your identity. What happens in that dance when integrity becomes your identity? If this resonated, stay with me. You'll find more teachings, reflections, and ways to work together in the description below. Until next time,
Lead whole.